Spread the news like mayonnaise on toast. Gary, I have a mission for you. Flux capacitor? Okay. But let me tell you about that time I drove a cab.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you go ahead and...
Money that's something, chicks that read. I want my Mark TV.
First, you're not on TV. But I'm told it's like a radio program, this podcast. Now, that is some weird and wild stuff. Did you know that, Ed?
Yes!
Oh, well, I think we'll need to pray about that. And ask your father.
Shut up, Marilyn! Why is everybody shouting? The Mark Roman Empire. Also, a podcast. Take me out tonight, where there's music and there's people and they're young and alive. Driving in your car, I never want to go home because I haven't got one anymore. Take me out tonight because I want to see people and I want to see life. That was my Markioki, Morrissey's brief shining moment with the Smiths. Or was it my Markioki of the Sweet and Tender Hooligans? Can't wait to see them again live. By this time, by the time the podcast drops, I will have just seen Sweet and Tender Hooligans at the El Rey Theater here in glorious, luscious Hollywood. More about that next week. Oh, hi there. I'm Mark Roman. Mark who? Mark Roman. Like the Empire? We are back at Jung Records, safely nestled in the costume houses and strip club next door district in North Hollywood. Because, yeah, we popped the cherry. The podcast is now officially a thing. Released to the world less than 72 hours ago, and we already have listeners in San Francisco, Austin, Texas, Canada, the Netherlands, and with special thanks to Hollywood Johnny Depp, Israel. So, shalom, eh? And stuff. Now, we just need to find the 20+ thousand humans who find it groovy enough to buy tickets and merch, right? Oh, yeah. There will be Mark Roman Empire live events that require tickets. Hey, there might even be a parade that empties into the Hollywood Bowl. Hey, someone's got to do it. So yeah, I'm growing this organically. Got to get the word out, upgrade the website, maybe pop in on a few other podcasts for a hot minute, do some promotion. In the words of the Smiths, these things take time. The Mark Roman Empire was not built in a day. Got to be honest, guys, I'm really happy to have that first one done and out of the way. I've been preparing for and anticipating this podcast for really the last decade. It's nice to finally have some crucial element in your life installed and in progress. I do this podcast for me because I like to hear myself talk, but I also absolutely adore Hollywood and Los Angeles, as well as many of the artists who populate this fair town. Yeah, I remain Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I'm just happy to be here. I like to share a little of it with you. Now, what's it like being a fresh new podcaster? Your friends like to fuck with you. My buddy Logan, aka Hollywood Wolverine, he says to me, "Dude, have you seen Tusk yet?" I'm like, "What?" He says, "Tusk. Kevin Smith, he wrote and directed it. It involves a podcast." I'm like, "You had me at Kevin Smith." So I watched it last night, streaming now as it is on the Netflix, and it certainly does involve a podcast. Yeah, kind of like how Michael Cohen involves a resume, or The Shining involves shrubberies. Yeah, fun. You should check it out though. It's a fun little jalopy around the block there. That Tusk. Let's go to our weekly segment on books, which we launched last week. But hey, book 'em, Dano. Oh, shut up, Marilyn. And now, let us not pray. Instead, a reading from the sacred scrolls. Son of Elmer Gantry's Bitch. Also a poem by Mark Roman. Roman as in the Empire. The most holy reading of verses 2 and 3 with refrain. Is it because I grew up Kimmy Schmidt, not boy but man, inside the body of that Eagle Scout son of Willie Loman, the not yet dead salesman of creeds and policies? How is it the goddamn fucking knee of Elmer Gantry's? Is it because I'm still technically Catholic, brother? Chained to a pope and rage as a father, but satisfies a mother. A mother after whom my nurtured fears did once lust. A second awkward marriage averted back to dust. See, scrolls, screens, and stages speak to me indeed. So many died, some lived, that I might listen, watch, and read. But why did mommy transmit that curious reading itch? Why me? Kimmy Schmidt, son of Elmer Gantry's bitch. So say we all. And for an autographed copy of the complete poem, go to markromanempire.com and click merch. The week. Well, we got some Twitter posts. Trying to get the Twitter going a little bit more here. I actually have got, there's this thing that my Lieutenant Frank will do. Every time we lose someone notable who has a star on the Walk of Fame, Lieutenant Frank will do what we call Officer Down. So there's a photo of that. I know it's on the Instagram, but, you know, I want you guys to look at the one on Twitter. It's a little bigger photo. You see a little bit more. There's some guy from Michigan holding a water bottle. It's awesome. That's how you want to remember Aretha, is a guy wearing a Michigan shirt holding a water bottle. But hey, here we are for posterity. It's kind of cool. Instagram, where a lot of actions happened this week. That's a Vegas 90210. The Twitter, of course, the Mark Roman. But on to Instagram, Vegas 90210. We got the new Lieutenant Frank citations. We've now got version Fargo. And we got a lot of notable new folks. It's a violation, a Family Boulevard violation, being a number of new folks. So check that out. We're going to have links to all this stuff in the show notes, so check that out, including Hollywood Cap. He's got the little finger beckon with the glove of Thanos. Check that out. And then finally, it's going crazy. My phone was like blowing up today with my post of it, but the Sweet and Tender Hooligans quite lovely and graciously reposted my pick yesterday of their ticket I got at Amoeba Records in Hollywood. I can't wait to see them Saturday. Yeah, I'll share much more about that next week. All right, so who's busker friendly in Hollywood? Good question. Glad you asked. Jameson's Irish Pub, the Rusty Mullet, Tequila, big chains that serve Happy Meals, quick guacamole, and sandwiches measured in inches. Now you might ask, who's not busker friendly in Hollywood? Well, there's Mitch, oh, where are you? An LA City Council empty suit, but he's always seems to elbow his way into the Walk of Fame new star unveilings. He'll probably be at Weird Al Yankovic's on Monday, the day this drops. What else is not busker friendly in Hollywood? That Taco Tuesday dive, steps from Jameson's. You know, the one on Hollywood Boulevard, where they literally have a sign that says, no caps. How do you think that made my Captain America Hollywood cap feel? On Taco Tuesday? Last night? It made him feel like chicken tacos at the Rusty Mullet. All right, guys. The Mark Roman Empire. Also a podcast. Brought to you by the characters of Vegas 90210. From the signature Lieutenant Frank, as seen on Hollywood Boulevard, the Las Vegas Strip, and the Los Angeles area college and NFL football tailgates, to Hollywood Cap, the Captain America of the Hollywood Avengers, as seen in San Diego and on Hollywood Boulevard. Vegas 90210 characters deliver not only a fun photograph to show everyone back home, but also a live improv performance tailored to you. Don't forget to tip your busker, and generously. Remember, I get no salary to entertain you in public spaces as a street performer. The Mark Roman Empire, also a podcast. Brought to you as well by Mark Roman Empire merch. Mark's poem, Son of Elmer Gantry's Bitch, autographed. Lieutenant Frank citations, which have been issued to folks like Tom Lennon, Joe Jonas, and David Spade. And Lieutenant Frank headshots, also autographed. It's all groovy stuff that keeps this podcast rolling. Buy my poem, citation, or headshot today at markromanempire.com. Click merch. And thanks for supporting my podcast. Now, I have a confession. I was a member of, and donated money to, a criminal terror organization. The Catholic Church. It's been years. I'm trying to get over it. Therapy helps, but since I'm not about to slit my wrist today, this very minute, I just might lose my weekly therapy under my current health plan. Because America is great again. Now, on NBC's Meet the Press this past Sunday, yeah, the one where Rudy performed some George Orwell karaoke with "The Truth Isn't the Truth." On that Meet the Press, noted loud and proud Catholic Hugh Hewitt, he said this: Donald Wuerl, who is the Archbishop of Washington, should have resigned last week, should be fired today, because he was part of a conspiracy to cover up a child porn ring run by priests in Pittsburgh. He soon tagged that with, and child peddling and child trafficking. He then later adds, I think Attorney General Shapiro, Democrat of Pennsylvania, has set a standard for 49 other attorneys generals because we cannot trust the Catholic Church. You know, in the words of stand-up comic Cory Showtime Robinson, my guest on the show today, quote, the new Predator movie should be set in the Vatican. Now, according to CBS Evening News on the 20th of August, the average Catholic gives $10 a week to their church. Now, apparently, America lacks imagination. If I don't give my $10 to the Catholic Church, what do I do with it? Well, here's an idea of the farmer's market. I live in Hollywood. We have a farmer's market on Sundays. So instead of going to the Catholic Church to give you their $10, them your $10, go to the farmer's market. At my farmer's market, I can get a flat of strawberries. That's like 3 little bins. I could get some celery and maybe even a couple carrots at least. $10. I'm going to live healthier. Much better donation. How else can you give $10 not to the Catholic Church? Your busker. Tip them, okay? Give your busker the $10. What's a busker? It's a street performer. I thought we'd been over this, okay? It's that musician on the street just playing the guitar and you like the jam, you know? Give them $10. If you're in Hollywood, it's a costume character, like what I do as Lieutenant Frank or Hollywood Cap. Medical students, you could contribute to their college fund. There's some Ivy League school that just started offering free medical school because apparently not enough kids are becoming doctors. That's a big problem. So you could give your $10 to an aspiring medical student to their scholarship fund. Here's an idea. Contribute to SNAP, the survivors network of those abused by priests. We'll have a link of it in the show notes. Those are ways that you can give your $10 to anything but the Catholic Church. You could literally light a $10 bill on fire. You'll probably make a world a better place than if you gave it to the Catholic Church. Why all the negative waves? We could be heroes for one day. It's our heroes segment, Aretha. I know, she was on our heroes list last week. And then we lost her the day after I recorded the podcast. Now, one Oval Office occupant described her as if she were an adequate construction contractor, yet to be paid for her work for his company, just before it filed for bankruptcy. And you'll wonder why the Queen of Soul marked the start of each performance by theatrically but matter-of-factly dropping her purse on the piano or stage. Hard, bitter experience taught her, as well as many entertainers not white and male, to get paid up front. She sang Chain of Fools. She was nobody's fool. Now, this is how President Obama responded to her passing. This is a tweet he tweeted. Aretha helped define the American experience. In her voice, we could feel our history, all of it and in every shade, our power and our pain, our darkness and our light, our quest for redemption and our hard-won respect. May the Queen of Soul rest in eternal peace. You know, I think my favorite song from Aretha, I go back to how I think I was really introduced to her. It's the film Blues Brothers. She sang Think. You got to watch that video. It's not the whole movie. Aretha's not only a hero, she's a legend. American royalty. Now, back when I was dating the rocket scientist, before my 2 years wandering the wilderness in Las Vegas, I saw Bill Burr perform at Flappers in Burbank. His opener act was this rather funny dude, a dude who just so happened to have Tourette's syndrome. Now, he didn't make us feel sorry for him. He made us laugh our asses off. I reached out to him on social media. He accepted my friend request, possibly because we shared quite a few stand-up comic mutual friends. Now, fast forward to today. As I record this, Samuel Conroe is in the finals of America's Got Talent. Now, I normally loathe reality TV and competition shows, mostly because of how they treat the talent. But when my artist friends make the sausage factory work for them, I gotta root for them. Whatever happens, whether he wins or not, all I know is that I remain a fan of Sam Conroe, and I can't wait to see his first Netflix special. He tells me he'll consider being on the podcast after the current AGT obligations wrap. I'd absolutely love to have this hero on. In the meantime, you can check him out at samueljconroe.com. We'll have links in the notes, show notes. Eliza. Now, she already has her Netflix special, several of them, in fact. Maybe you saw her most recent one, Elder Millennial. Now, she also has a stalker. And as she shared on a recent WTF with Mark Maron podcast, she had to take measures and spend money on security typical of a Kevin Hart or a presidential candidate. Because too many dudes are creepy assholes. And as Eliza discovered while bravely confronting and seeking prosecution of her stalker, her story is shared by way too many women, many with even more grisly details. The average dude worries about whether his underwear pinches his ball sack. The average woman worries about whether that guy at the gym or at Trader Joe's is about to rape her and or kill her. How does that make America great? Exactly. I'm just asking. Eliza's hilarious and happens to be a hero. Now, I don't know her personally, of course, but I'd love to have her on the podcast. Now, if you were ever thinking of going to a comedy club, not to watch comedy, but to talk loudly to your friends, text on your phone, and talk to the comedian on stage, the one holding the microphone, whenever you feel like it. Then the video, Heckler versus Joe Klosek, it'll be like a masterclass on why that just might be quite possibly the worst idea of your entitled life. Joe casually and deftly makes this bro dude the laughingstock of not only a particular San Francisco punchline audience, but literally 1 million YouTube viewers around the globe. And counting. Now, I met Joe at a Curtis Matthews comedy class at the San Francisco Comedy College. I don't normally recommend most classes for artists, especially for stand-up comedy. But Curtis toured with Bill Hicks. I'm grateful for the experience, for what I learned, and would highly recommend the SF Comedy College. I met Joe there, and he was already an established working comic looking to hone his craft and up his game. He immediately struck me as a local Bay Area comic to look up to. If I hadn't gotten sucked into acting and moving to LA so soon, I would have liked to gotten to know him better. Fast forward to earlier this year. He entered a program for addiction. Not an uncommon thing among artists. Mark Maron just celebrated 19 years sober. I'm grateful that I must not have an addictive personality when it comes to substances. I guess I'm just too addicted to my brain operating at full capacity and lucidity. That's why I put the I in improv. But my heart goes out to entertainers who struggle with addiction. I think of Robin Williams, who also struggled with depression, as do I. I think of Greg Giraldo and others. Based on some infrequent Facebook posts, the program restricts Joe's phone and computer use. I hurt for the guy and what he's going through. It sounds like he's making progress through the program, but my heart just really goes out to him. I hope Joe gets the support he needs once he's out. I mean, I feel helpless to do anything. You know, with things like this, a lot of it weighs on the shoulders of the addict. As an alleged civilized culture, I can't help but notice what a shitty job we do to actually help addicts. Instead, we create them. Joe, I love you as an artist, a sharp wit, and a solid human. I wish there were more Joe Kloseks in the world. Would love to interview you on the podcast when it's the right time. Meanwhile, I'm hoping you get all you need to heal. You deserve it. You're my hero. All right. And now, these are a few of my favorite things. Oh my God, that's like so LA. The Dresden. I first saw this lovely establishment in the film Swingers, which launched my careers, or I should say, launched not my careers, but the careers of True Detective Vince Vaughn, as well as Jon Favreau. You know, Happy, Tony Stark's assistant. Now, my cherry popped there a few weeks ago with a matchmaking date gone mild. We had a lovely adult conversation, but initially we shared this look that confirmed, yeah, this is pleasant, but not quite sexy, while lacking chemistry. But Marty and Elaine, they are an experience you must have, and I was not disappointed. They are a unique musical live performance act you must enjoy at some point in your lifetime. It's even better than what Swingers portrays. Don't say decades, say years. All right, guys. Where can you see me next? Well, Lieutenant Frank may make some cameos again on Hollywood Boulevard. He's been known to do that once or twice in the last week or two. Of course, Lieutenant Frank will be seen at upcoming football tailgates, both college and NFL here in Los Angeles. He's already done a couple of the preseason pro games, and I think he'll be doing one this Saturday, which will have passed once you hear this podcast. Of course, Hollywood Cap on Hollywood Boulevard with the Hollywood Avengers, both Hollywood Iron Man and Hollywood Wolverine. Now, don't forget, if you're on the YouTube, we are Mark Roman Empire. Me, myself, and I, the Royal We, or the Imperial We, perhaps. On SoundCloud, it's Mark Roman Podcast. On Twitter, the Mark Roman. Instagram, Vegas 90210. You know, like the Tory spelling vehicle. On Facebook, it's Mark Roman Empire now. Formerly was Mark Roman Creative. You know the deal. Subscribe, follow, view, like, share, retweet. You know what to do. Of course, you could forget all that stuff. Just go to markromanempire.com. That'll have the latest info on the podcast, where to hear it, all the links, the merch that keeps this going, as well as the vital show notes for all those references along this primrose path. You know, it was ladies first last week, the debut episode with Ashley Mary Nunez. I got her name right. on the podcast last week, and she congratulated it to me, and here I am slaughtering it now. Sorry, Ashley. Ashley Mary Nunez. Now, my second interview is with a dude, but still not another white guy. Cory Showtime Robinson and I go way back to our early comedy days up in the San Francisco Bay Area. Now, I'm going to have to check with him, but I believe we met performing at an open mic at Tommy T's in Pleasanton. He actually continued the hard work of performing all the time at open mics, whereas I got sucked into acting and then busking, and now this podcast. Cory is now an award-winning working stand-up comic, and like me, here in LA. You may know him from his Taco Bell diet bit, or his hashtag, "It's not about race though" posts. I'm looking forward to catching up with Seaside Funny, Cory Showtime Robinson. Cory Showtime Robinson.
That's what they call me.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man.
It's been a long time. When did we last see each other?
It was definitely on Hollywood Boulevard randomly, and
That's
you
right.
you had some uncomfortably short shorts. I'm sure you were comfortable. I was uncomfortable seeing you in them, but yeah, that's where I usually since I moved to LA, that's where I run into you at. So.
It sounds like you're talking about my Lieutenant Frank and
Yes.
the women's short shorts and the rainbow tactical leg warmers.
pretty much.
Yeah. It's funny. I'll actually be. I'm going to see the Sweet and Tender Hooligans this Saturday. They're a cover band for the Smiths and Morrissey.
Okay.
And Tom Lennon, the guy who was Lieutenant Dangle in Reno 911, which my Lieutenant Frank is loosely based on, he plays guitar when the Sweet and Tender Hooligans play in LA. So, yeah. So yesterday I go get my ticket at Amoeba because it's right there in Hollywood. And I just, throw a little photo of it because I love the band. They're a great band.
Yeah.
They repost it.
Nice.
It was awesome. Yeah.
There you go.
Kind of,
It's
been some good currency.
Hollywood is a strange beast.
It is. How's it been for you? Because I know we met up in the Bay Area, but now you're down in LA. How long have you been in LA now?
I've been in LA since March of 2015, so over 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. Or was it 15 or 14, one of those two. That's how long I've been here. It's like I've already lost track of time. I'm stuck. It's like a prisoner. It's like who cares? I got life.
This town will do that to you, won't it?
It certainly will. There's so many pitfalls everywhere you go.
Right? That's crazy. Well, we met. Let's start at the beginning because I'm trying to remember. Was it at Tommy T's in Pleasanton?
It had to
open
have
mic
been.
that we met. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And that was like a decade ago because I was still in college.
Okay, can we say years?
It was years ago.
It's more than 2 years.
All right,
Just
it's
say
more than 2 years.
A decade. I'm comfortable with that.
Dude, I'm turning.
You cool with that?
I'm turning 35 in a month, so I'm learning to get in touch with my mortality, which is 70 in black years. So I'm really just trying.
Right?
Yeah, I'm just. Wow. I should have gotten my social.
Not that
Security.
I know personally.
I should have got my Social Security 6 months ago.
Wow.
But yeah, we met in Tommy T's years ago, back when they had an open mic every Monday, and it was like a competition. And
yeah, it was Mondays, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was like every Monday. It was like everybody would come. It was Monday or Tuesday or something like that. And you come in, you pay your $5, and
the
winner, the audience,
because you're a performer.
Yeah,
so you got to pay money to,
of course,
provide the entertainment that other people are gonna pay money to see.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
And then I remember the staff would pick their 5 favorites, and the audience would pick the winner, and the winner got half of whatever the pot was.
Right.
I think the first couple weeks they gave us the whole pot, and then they're like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna cut that in half." And then after a while, it was just all Drew Polt and Joey Bragg.
I remember that.
I think I won it twice. I was happy just to get it.
You won it 2 more times than I ever did. Although I got to open for Lisa Landry once, I think.
Nice.
I think I just lucked out because she happened to be there. And I got to be honest with you, I kind of feel like I don't know. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Love you, Lisa. Want to have you on the podcast.
Recovering mortgage broker. I remember that joke.
That's right. Back in the day. Wow. Seems like a lifetime ago. It was. Now, you are Seaside Funny.
I am.
Hashtag the letter C. Side Funny.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that. What does that mean? That's a place, Seaside, isn't
Seaside, California. That's where I'm from. I was born in San Francisco, raised in Seaside. It's my hometown. I love it. Only place in America where you can go to a liquor store and buy a sweatsuit. And
hey, whoa. Go to a liquor store and buy a what?
A sweatsuit.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain that a little bit here.
There was this corner store around the block from my house called Nations, where like all the kids would go because it was in between like 3 or 4 schools, so they had perfect placement.
Okay.
And there was this like Middle Eastern like guy and his brother that owned it since I was a kid, and they always just put extra shit in there. You know, like you can always buy like, you know,
just random stuff.
Yeah, like you go into a liquor store, buy what you're gonna do, like snacks and, you know, blunts or whatever.
We can move it. The kids, they buy
exactly.
this.
But like you can buy like a pack of Swishers, a big ass pickle, and a knockoff Laker jersey right there at the spot because they had like everything hanging up. They had a bunch of those hats that like with the old English lettering, like the Easy used to have that said Compton, but we had ours that said Seaside. So
that's hilarious. But like, I guess I kind of prepared you a little bit for, you know, what you see in big cities, like especially here in LA. Just
exactly.
Street vendors have all kinds of crazy stuff that may or may not be entirely legit, but hey, it's, you know, it's a thing, it's a deal.
Exactly.
While supplies last, right?
And since like the hashtag thing was like when I was starting comedy or getting out of college, hashtags were like becoming a thing because like that's how old I am. I remember I was born before the internet.
In the olden days when it first started, it was Conestoga wagons.
I remember having dial-up internet. I remember using floppy disks.
Dial-up.
Anybody under 30 has no idea what I'm talking about.
You remember America Online?
Oh, okay. Oh my
it's
god.
It's a modem, kids.
Yes.
For you millennials
56K. That was slow.
Back
in my day, it took 3 hours to download one dirty picture, and if anyone picked up the phone, damn it, you missed it.
I remember when 56K was like, that was the top tier.
But like I was saying, like I came up with Seaside Funny because my hometown has like a grand total of maybe 33,000 people. So like I figured if I made it, I'd take them with me. And so far it hasn't worked.
Well, I like it. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
I think you know, when you have a Netflix special, it'll suddenly work.
Yeah, let's just
like
hope.
Basically, your entire act. It's just, you know, it's getting to that point.
I hope so because I just hope I get a Netflix special. A, I hope I get a Netflix special. B, I hope I get a Netflix special when it matters because like they're pretty much giving them to everybody.
Well, let's talk about the reason why you should have a Netflix special, because you're not only hashtag Hollywood core, but you are also known for hashtag It's Not About Race, though.
That is true.
And I want to talk about a couple of clips you already got floating out there in the internet, but talk to us a little bit about It's Not Always Race, though, because I am just, you know, your basic average middle-aged white guy.
If you looked up white in the dictionary, you would probably pop up, Mark. And you're awesome. I have no problem.
And I get that. But that's why it's like, for me, I grew up in a small town in Northern California, but you know, I had Japanese friends. I had Filipino friends that to me,
if you grow up in the Bay Area, you're going to grow up around everyone. And that's one of the beautiful things about it. And I came up with It's Not About Race, though, because when you do grow up around everyone, you realize that it isn't. And it's not the big deal. It's not like race is just something they use to divide us and everything, but it's a twofold thing.
Well, it's a good thing. It's diversity. It's like you have, you know, you don't want vanilla white bread all the time.
No, you don't. But it's also twofold because one, it's not about race though. It's really about money. But it's always a white person telling me that something isn't racial. And that's really what made me come up with that. Like I'll be explaining my experience to someone and be like, oh, that's not a racial thing. And I'm like, what? So you guys, you guys are the majority. You get to call us minorities and all this other stuff. Wow. But then on top of that, you get to judge whether or not something that happened to me is racist or racial or not. So it's like kind
they
of
don't get to define terms.
Yeah, it's kind of a sarcastic. It's not about race though. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of came up with it, and I just kept kind of running with it because. I don't know if it's the algorithm or what, but like every day I'm just confronted with something else that's just like, it's clearly racist, but I know someone's going to be like, this isn't a racial thing. So I just put, but it's not about race though. You know?
That's amazing. I mean, as a white guy, I'll have like other white guys come up to me and they think that it's cool because I'm another white guy. They just start talking some shit and I'll look at them and I'll go, that's pretty fucking racist what you just said. It's like, oh, dude, no, you know, I didn't mean to say. I'm like, well, then why the fuck did you say it? Like, you know, it's not.
It's a creepy thing because in my travels, I've run across some people that have gotten a little too comfortable with me. Because, like, one of the things that used to make me mad when I was growing up was, like, there's this concept of black enough that you get from both sides as a black person. Where, like, if you're, like, like as a black person to black people, there's a certain level of, you know, like toughness or being down or whatever the hell. When you're a kid,
Well, you share something.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, Omarosa right now isn't exactly at her blackest moment. Let's just put it like that. Like her black card has been pulled a long time ago. So, you know, there's a black enough level to like, you know, like no one wants to be an Uncle Tom or anything selling out the race. But,
Right.
But it's also on the other side where like I'll just like growing up and like my mother's a teacher. So I had.
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
What does she teach?
She was kindergarten through 5th grade. So
okay,
I'm on
that's
top
a fun
of 35
ages.
years. Yeah. So
What
there
subjects?
Kindergarten through
Oh,
first
that's
grade.
right.
So
You
it's
don't
just
really break it down
yeah,
then.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's not really like a distinction like history for 3rd grade. No, it's just like you just teach everything. So, but
I forgot. It's like my son now. He's like he's about to turn 20 here in days, and he's going back on Friday his first or his 2nd year at Syracuse.
Oh, congrats, man.
He's already got figured out at becoming a PhD, getting his doctorate, becoming a professor.
When he figures out how to pay for some of that shit on his own, you're gonna be the happiest guy.
Well, we might have him on the podcast. I don't know. He and I have talked, and there's a segment called the Connor Caveat. We might do. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
But mom was a teacher, and there was no bad grades for me. Like I had to get like I was damn near an Asian kid. Like if I got a B, I was getting
you had
my
all
ass
that
kicked.
extra pressure.
Yeah, and so I was working hard. I get good grades and stuff, and I wasn't exactly speaking like I have kind of an accent, kind of a vernacular, but I don't really sound like there's a movie out right now, very good movie called Sorry to Bother You. It's all about code switching and using your white voice and hey, how are you doing? It's good to talk to you.
Yeah.
But like so sometimes I come off as like kind of Caucasian in my voice, and so when I guess there's a level of comfort you get to with certain people where like I didn't seem black anymore. So they'd start,
You lost your black credentials.
Yeah, but with white people, that's more like, oh, now you're one of us. We can talk to you now, and that's when you were just talking. Like they come up and say some shit to me. I'm like, you do know I'm black, right? Like, and I think it's just, and I think to certain white people, like black enough, their level is just how likely are you to knock me out for the shit I'm about to say? You know what I mean? It's a violence level. So there's and either way. And like on both sides, it's wrong because like from black to black, it's like I'll get beat up for talking white or having good grades, and I'm like, why is everything that's good considered white and everything that's bad considered black? Like you want me to play basketball or sell drugs, and that's a good thing, but I got like straight A's in middle school and I'm getting my ass kicked. Like I don't understand what we should really be looking up to.
Like there's 2 guys who just got indicted yesterday, and I'm listening to like the Daily, the New York Times podcast, and they're literally, you got these like experts, and they're saying this is like a defining moment in American legal history, and the 2 people who were guilty, they're white guys.
Oh yeah, very guilty and very white. And it's fun. I was thinking the other day, like I don't know if it's Manafort or Cohen that's in trouble for fraud. Probably both, but like it's funny. It's bank fraud. I think it was Manafort that was specifically bank fraud, and it's funny that so many Republicans are looking for election fraud and welfare fraud, but these 2 cats just got super in trouble for fraud.
Right. Exactly.
So and like you've been defrauding banks, like you don't need all that. You're already rich, and you're still defrauding banks out of money.
Oh, don't even get me started. I mean, I start talking about banks. If I was sitting next to Bill Burr, he would be going, dude. Chill out. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. Take a walk or something. Have a hamburger. It's gonna be all right. I hate banks, but man, you just hey. Yeah. I mean, let me take you a ride in my helicopter. I take your mind off.
Must be nice.
I would love that. I've never met Bill Burr, but that would be. He's like my imaginary older brother. Like probably 90% of my stand-up comic buddies.
There you go.
Speaking of imaginary or not so imaginary. Older brothers, someone told me that in one of your many forays to the Comedy Store, that you went to a super secret basement area and you got to enjoy some, how should we say, herbal remedies with none other than.
Well, this is a different story, but like the funny thing about comedy, the Comedy Store is it's like a haunted mansion.
It really is,
basically because there's a bunch of trapdoors and weird switches and a lot of people died. But
and for people who don't know, the Comedy Store is this iconic, possibly the number one comedy destination in LA.
It's my favorite place in this town to hang out because
It's where Richard Pryor did Live on the Sunset Strip.
Yes, and it's funny because like I guess it's like a rite of passage to be a comic and do drugs at the comedy store, and so I'm proud of myself because I smoked weed in about 40% of that building.
So you're in.
And I haven't been to 50% of that building yet. So like,
wow.
And that's the crazy thing about the comedy store. You never know, like it's all painted black. So you could be leaning against the wall. And this happened to me once before.
Yeah.
I was leaning against the wall and fell into a room. Like,
wow.
I didn't know that was
wall
there.
was a curtain.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's all these different things, but like it's cool because you can accidentally run into your heroes. Like one time I was out smoking with some other comics and Ron White just shows up and is like, "Hey, who's got a light over here?" I was like, it would be my genuine pleasure. And
Too cool.
I'm just sitting there smoking with tater salad, and it's just
right.
and it's cool because like he's super down to earth. You can tell that dude's from he didn't come from money, but he's got it. You know what I mean? Like his suit was immaculate and stuff, but he was just like, "Can I take a hit of that?" Like, all right, I'm gonna go get on my jet. Yeah,
that's good to hear because you hate when you meet heroes
mm-hmm.
and then you find out they're an asshole.
Oh,
you know, and I'm always kind of like. I worry about that. It's like one of the hazards of being in this town is that, you know, you're like, I don't want to find out this guy's an asshole. You know?
I lucked out because
keep him on the perch.
I met some of my heroes and they haven't been assholes, and I met some of my friends and they turned out to be. That's the crazy thing. Like the people that you like turned out to be assholes.
Right.
That's the ones that really suck.
Wow.
Because if you meet one of your heroes, you never met him before, you probably never see him again. So this one instance is just that one instance. But you have a friend that you've had for years and then they turn out to be an asshole. That sucks.
Right.
You know.
Copy that. How do you know so much about my life, Cory?
Because we've done the same thing, man. Being an artist is just a long, slow slog, man. Like people say, like life is short. You know, like life is short if you do it right. You know, life like if you're having a ball, life feels short.
Yeah.
If you're fucking up, life is like 375 years. It's gonna feel like it'll feel like a millennium. Exactly.
It's like the line of the DMV.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get into some of your, as the industry likes to call it, content.
Okay.
Taco Bell diet.
So wait, am I doing stand up now or like what's going
on? No. I just it's a funny clip that people can see online. By the way, we're gonna have links in the show notes.
Please do.
Any of this stuff people can see. If you don't know who Ron White is, we'll have a link there for that. You know, if you don't know who is there anyone else that you managed to run into?
Dave Chappelle.
Hello.
Yeah, if you don't know who Dave Chappelle is, you probably shouldn't be listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I'm not going to have a link. If you don't know who Dave Chappelle is, there's probably other podcasts you could be listening to.
I don't know how you made it this far in life.
I don't need listeners that bad where it's like, okay, I have to explain who Dave Chappelle is.
I've literally seen Japanese people that don't speak a word of English run up to Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, is it too much to say he's kind of Richard Pryor for our generation?
Oh, absolutely. And like it's funny because comedy is so subjective. You could say this guy's the best or that guy's the best, and people get mad. Now I think just about everyone, it's unanimous in the comedy community that like this dude has got the crown. You know, like Kevin Hart might be the most successful at the moment, but Dave is the best.
Right.
You know,
he's iconic. He's legend. I mean, just the whole thing with you know, what he did with his show on Comedy Central and
his stand-up, his stance on it. Like I gained so much respect for Dave for just, you know, just turning down the money because it's not about the money now. You know, and it was funny because he could turn it down because he already had it.
Yeah.
Like it'd be real hard. Like if someone offered you or me $50 million to do something against our morals, we'd probably do it because we don't have $50 million to look back on or some substantial amount of money. But Dave's already like, man, you know how many DVDs we done sold and you trying to screw me out of my money? I'm out.
Right. Now, why do you do it, Cory? Why do you do comedy? This is a tough fucking thing to do.
It's one of the hardest things you can do. You know, because like I related to sports a lot because I think I just want it to be that way. Because in sports, whatever number you have is what you got. You know? If you have 100 points and the other team has 90, you win. You know, in comedy, it don't matter. You know, it's subjective. It could be like, even if there was a fair scoring method, it still wouldn't matter. It's all who you know and like what connections you have and where like, you know, where you're seen and what being in the right place at the right time. But I love it because before I knew anything about bills and life and girls and this, that, and the other, when I was a kid, I learned that when you can make somebody laugh, that's a powerful feeling. You know,
How'd it feel the first time you heard someone laugh because what you
Great.
said or did?
I've been hooked on it ever since. I remember
It's like a narcotic, isn't it?
I know when I wanted to become a comic. I think it was like 8 or 9 years old. I was on vacation with my mom. We were at my uncle's house in Vegas, and my uncle is he's a very clever man, very, very witty man. He reminds me of a Spartan. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't take shit, but he got jokes.
Of a who?
A Spartan. You know, like I read like the actual people
As in
Sparta.
back in the day.
Yes, like
Sparta.
Yeah, Spartans were very like, if you don't know
300.
yeah,
that sort
like
of
I actually
thing.
read up on the history. Like they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were an elite
Interesting.
society that really did throw babies off the cliff if they were, you know.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't tolerate bullshit
nah,
at
you
all.
had to be you had to be a warrior or you were out.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Like
Yeah.
they only the strong. And my uncle reminds me a lot of that. And what I remember like reading through that is like a lot of historians say the Spartans were very sharp tongued. Like they wouldn't, you know, like it's just like a boxer. Like, you know, you're gonna talk shit, you know,
Right,
you can't beat me up. So I'm not worried about that. And my uncle was always like that. And I remember when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I told some joke and the punchline was like on the next MRE. And my uncle sat there for a second, looked at me and just started laughing. And I was like, I might be on to something here.
How'd that feel to like see your uncle?
It felt
you know, so an older man who's seen some stuff
Yeah.
more than you because he's older than you, and you know he probably kindly, but he patronizes you. You're a child, and but to kind of break through that exterior with your comedy where he breaks down, he actually laughs, probably in spite of himself because he's trying to
he's trying to fight it. Yeah.
I'm the adult here, you know.
It
It's
made
like,
me
I'll tell
feel-
you when I think something's funny.
I felt like I figured out a cheat code or something. Like, cause
you broke him.
Yeah. Like when I was in college, like my last semester, I took judo, and I remember my first day in college. There was this little, like the sensei. It was this cocky black dude, Dave Williams. Hey, Dave, I hope you're listening. He had this little Asian girl as his assistant. Like she'd been around for years, you know, and she was like 95 pounds and she's an ounce. And she literally went through the line and threw everybody. I mean, from people her size,
through them,
like across the room, like, you know. And I'm still a big dude, but at this time I was like 240. I'm probably 270 right now, but I was like 240.
Hey, I'm still trying to subdivide this one pack down here. All right,
And I'm like,
we're working on it.
I'm
all
sitting
right?
down there. I'm like holding myself together, and I'm trying not to let this little girl toss me like she done tossed everyone down the line. And I don't know what I did, but next thing I know, my feet were where my head was, and I was on the ground. And it was one of those things where you're so surprised
by a lady.
Yeah, by a tiny lady. Like you're so surprised that you don't even know. You're not even hurt yet. You're just like, what just happened?
Right.
That's how I felt like her in that moment. Like
with
I
your
was,
uncle.
yeah, I was able to take out my little ass was able to toss a huge man across the room.
Right.
That's what it felt like. Just that kind of power.
That is fantastic. There's nothing like it, is there?
There really isn't. It's a drug, and I know this because it's cost me everything.
All right, well, tell us about that. You know, I mean, that
Mhm.
as much as you feel comfortable with, what have you sacrificed to be a comic?
Man, relationships, friendships, tons and tons of money.
So you've had those too. Have you ever had the relationships where like they somehow never managed to make any of your shows?
Yeah.
Not even one?
Yeah. Well, I've had the ones where they make like a lot of my relationships came from the show, and then like they don't come anymore because A, it's like I've heard it all before. And B, it's like I don't care.
Right.
But it's just so much, and time is really the thing. Like I've been doing this since I was in my teens, you know, and I still there's times when I like reflect on it. I was like, did I really, you know, if there was a goal to it, like when do you give it up? You know, because I haven't quite got there, but I still love doing what I do, you know?
Yeah, but here's the thing, like it never was for me. For me, I feel like, you know, it wasn't a vocational choice. It's not like you're sitting down with your career guidance counselor in high school and they're like, well, you could be a lawyer, you could be a chemist, you could be a politician, or you could be a stand-up comic.
But for me, it was though, because I knew I wanted to do that shit before so many people have jobs.
You wanted to, or you needed to?
A little both. But like so many people have jobs and then they discover comedy and then they want to pursue that, but they keep working and whatnot. I was into that before I was old enough to work. So I figured this is what I'm going to be. Yeah. And so like I went into just about every job in my life feeling like this is just to supplement what I'm going to do, You know what I mean? Because like this is
See,
like a
you were
job
so
was just
far
something.
ahead of me.
Yeah, my job was just something I'm doing. My comedy is who I was. So it's just like that.
You had it figured out. See, I didn't even know that. I wanted to be a comic. I just didn't grasp that that's what was going on. I kept trying to shoehorn it into all these things that people were telling me I should do. You should go sell. You should go do this. You got great people skills. I just want to entertain people, but I didn't realize that's what was going on.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was like, I feel like it's a little more like, I can't say it's more difficult. It's just different from my angle of it, because like you hear those stories. It was like, yeah, I was a real estate agent. I was making a lot of good money selling houses and stuff, but I just wasn't happy. It was like, nah, I never had money, so it was nothing to really worry about. It's like what's the life of being a broke comic when you're a broke student already, you know?
Right.
So it's like, you know, what's the difference?
Well, you can even, as someone who's a recovering former mortgage broker,
Exactly.
10 years after, I made what some people might consider to be a good income, especially in a state that's not California. But when you're living in the Bay Area during like the tech boom and bubble, it's nothing. I mean, I didn't even, when I owned a house, it was when I first got into the mortgage business, married in Michigan, and making like 50 grand was like a really big
That's
deal.
like 200,000 over there.
Yeah, 50 grand. You're like, you can barely even rent a place in the Bay Area.
Man, you can barely own a car out here for 50
Right?
grand. And yeah, it's crazy just how like money is the biggest impedance to comedy, because like, I don't want to say impedance to comedy. It's impedance to your life if you want to be a comic, because it's always going to be this weird toss up, because comedy is going to cost you something. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you effort. It's going to cost you travel.
Why does comedy cost you time? What do you have to do every day?
You have to write. You have to get yourself in the mindset. You have to get to the open mics. It's even harder in LA because everything's a lottery. Maybe you get to perform, and maybe you get to do 3 minutes, and then ooh, yay! You know.
That's why I just don't even do. I did all my comedy up in the Bay Area, but I do different things down here, and you know, my outlet for my comedy. I'm grateful to have this podcast now because that's it. But yeah, like the idea of like even going to open mics, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like I'm really not really anxious to impress, you know, people that are directly competing and don't want to like.
It's not easy.
Don't want to laugh.
It's not easy, man. But it's like, you know, if you can win in that situation, you got something.
That's true.
And it's just like,
and you have, because you've performed at the Laugh Factory, right? You've performed at the Comedy Store.
Yep, recently, Monday.
That's right. Have you performed at the Improv? That's the other.
Yeah, I got to do that one.
Those are the big
shout
three,
out to Jason Mung Rogers, American Me Comedy. I got to do that one.
Oh, nice! Right on.
Yep, that was a lot of fun. But like I was saying, like money gets in the way because like.
You have to make it.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't do it from comedy. Like you can eventually, if you're lucky, if you're one of the very chosen few that actually shoehorns yourself into something that earns cash consistently. But other than that, you're an artist. Like nobody gets paid to paint. You got to do that because you want to. And maybe someone buys your art. But in the meantime, you got to paint. You know?
Exactly.
Nobody wants your doodles on the side of your textbook. You know, you got to get up there, get a canvas and put yourself out there, and it costs you something. And if it doesn't, and if it's not well received, it hurts. And that's part of the game. But like the thing that threw me.
You know what's funny though? It does hurt, but it's something that really struck me. I ran into someone who, this is a long time ago, but they did not like Robin Williams. Exactly. I had an epiphany because I thought, not everybody likes Robin Williams. And he's a fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, wait a second. If Robin Williams being so amazing has people that don't like him, and I'm just trying to start building something here.
Oh, yeah, people hate you.
There's lots of, but what my takeaway from it was, you just need a certain amount of fans that really dig you.
Yep.
And then everyone else doesn't even matter because you got your fans.
Exactly.
It's like I'm saying early in the podcast, like I want to fill, you know, an arena with 20,000 people. That's all I need. 20,000 people. If they love me, they want to buy tickets to see me. They want to buy my merch. I'm good. Now it's a drop in the bucket compared to a world that's overpopulated with 7 billion plus and a bunch more new ones were born today.
Yeah. But you're going to get those same 20,000 people to come to every show?
It's a fair question.
That's not easy, man. Like you're going to need a lot more than 20,000.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go.
And it's easier. Like it's better to focus on what you do well versus what you don't. Because if you focus on winning over the people that don't like you, it's pointless. Just focus on making the people that do like you happy.
So what do you like to talk about? What do you find? I mean, I can tell because I know so many videos. Like I said, I'm not looking for you to necessarily, we're not asking you to do bits here, but and we'll have links to this on the in the show notes.
So what's my material about?
You
Basically,
did the Taco Bell diet. Yeah. That's a really.
I talk about what's pertinent to my life. So I talk about like me trying to lose weight or my relationships and what it's like to.
Sign of safety. I like that.
Yeah, race relations in America.
That goes back to.
That's a fun joke because like where I grew up in Seaside is right next to Monterey, which is in Santa Cruz, Pebble Beach, gorgeous area.
And sounds very white.
Yes, very well to do. And that's where I came up with the idea, like you're in a safe neighborhood when you see white people jogging, because
it's still
it's true.
It's true. It's like, but it's so dark and ugly that's the reality in 2018. What we like to say is, civilization, or great America or whatever. Whatever
and now it's funny because like I grew up there and now I live in South Central. It's one of my bits now. I say I live in South Central on the corner of Crip and MS-13. And I know that for a fact because they wrote it on my house.
Damn.
So, but it's weird because LA is definitely changing from what I remember, like visiting here as in my earlier years and like seeing all those old gang movies. Like it's not nearly that bad, but it's still bad. But it's weird because gentrification is happening. So you'll see like I said, you're in a nice neighborhood, you see white people jogging, you don't see white people run through Watts. But you do, like I live on like Normandy and Exposition, and I'm seeing white people jogging down the street, and I'm like, there goes neighborhood. It's like my rent just went up $500.
Like when Starbucks moves in next door. Yeah,
when you get a Whole Foods, you might as well just move out because you can't afford to live there anymore. That's $1,000. Like, you're paying $1,100 for rent. Well, now it's $31.
You know what's weird is they follow me on Twitter, and I don't even shop there. I go to Trader Joe's. Yeah, I have no idea. I have a list. It's mysterious.
Well, I hope they're not one of your sponsors because Trader Joe's is shitting on Whole Foods, son.
I love Trader Joe's. I go there all the time.
Trader Joe's is the best. I love it.
And I have no sponsors.
There you go.
I don't know if we're going to have sponsors here.
Trader Joe's, pick up the Mark Roman Empire and hook me up with some sweet potato chips.
Let's have Cory Robinson here do some Trader Joe's spots on
I went vegetarian for 60 days.
How did that work?
I just did it to see if I could.
Could you?
I did. It wasn't like the first week was rough, but like after pork is the hardest thing to give up, to be honest with you. Ribs, bacon. Oh, it's awesome. All the savoriest ones, like you can get rid of like a lot of the meat we eat is trash. Like most of the meat we eat is trash. Like Burger King, McDonald's, like any kind of most restaurants. But like when you go to like somebody's barbecue or you go to like your favorite restaurant, that's when it's hard to turn down. Like, oof, meat. But
I feel like the burger's naked without the bacon.
Exactly.
It's like it just be wrong. You know.
But I figured out like you don't necessarily need to eat meat. Like I was able to like it was for me like me being a fat guy. Like I was shocked that I could live on vegetables. You know what I mean? Like just growing up as a kid, like I would fight. Like I would fight to not eat broccoli to go to the ice cream, but then like
I love broccoli.
Yeah, you're weird, but
I'm also weird.
Yeah, like I love carrots. That's a weird thing too.
I love carrots. I had one earlier today.
Yeah, but
I didn't had panda.
I didn't know I like carrots. I didn't know I like eggplant. I didn't know I like all these different things, and it caused me to learn how to cook more creatively because
it diversified your diet too.
Yeah. And I'm also trying to figure out how to work this into the stage. But like I can do vegetarian. I'm not going vegan. Vegan is of the devil. That's not right. And you can't convince me that veganism is a thing because if it was good, then why are you trying to make all your food look like real food?
It's a fair point. Fair point.
Like if you've ever been to a vegan restaurant, they'll say like vegan lasagna or chicken with an I in.
There's a lot of theater involved.
Yeah, there's all there's a lot of air quotes and stuff, and it's like, no, this isn't pizza. This is barley and some almond paste.
Like embrace the fact that it's not really shrimp.
Yeah, this is cauliflower that you made look like a crust. This is almond that you made look like cheese, and you're trying to. And the whole point of this is to make it taste like meat. You're lying. You're lying to yourself. Stop it. We didn't get this high up on the food chain just to eat the trees.
See, I'm with you there. I'm like, I want to believe in, I'm like Mulder in the X-Files. I want to believe in the vegetarian and even the vegan cause. And I can't quite get there, but I found that I've kind of like moved to this point. Like I eat less red meat now, or like no meat. Like I love hummus, I love guacamole, and I found like I've been eating a lot more of that kind of stuff.
I try to eat meat as little as possible, and mainly because like I was talking to a really good friend of mine, Jeff Brown, very good comic, writes for D.L. Hughley, and he's been vegan for like the last like 10 years, I think. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not going all the way down there. He's like, nah, man. He's got a really high voice. Like, nah, man, I'm telling you, you gotta cut animal protein from your diet. It's driving you insane. And he was right, because I've had some like in the last year, I've had some serious mental health issues, and I was like, let me see if like changing my diet will help.
That is a common thing with comics. Mental health. I mean, I have mental health issues.
This job straight up drives you crazy. I don't care what medical, I don't have any data to prove it. I don't know what the medical term is, but I'm just being real. Being a comic will drive you insane because, I mean, like, may he rest in peace. Like you just talked about, Robin had the whole, made the whole world happy. One of the most beautiful souls ever.
Sure.
Killed himself because he just couldn't. I think part of being a comic and trying to find the humor and laughter and happiness in something, you have to see all the ugly. And like it's our job to like we're like emotion recyclers. We take all the shitty.
It's a great phrase.
Take all the shitty that the world has, and we make it funny that you laugh at it. And then you hold all that in or whatever, and you take all these other observations, and then you still have that. After the laughter, you still have all that pain. So.
See, that's where I feel like a lot of comics, especially good comics, it's not a choice. It's like, well, I have to do this, and I feel like the comedy comes from this need to somehow deal with or process or try to make some sense out of this enormous pain that the comic has experienced in their life, or some trauma or just something horrific that's happened. And the people that make us laugh are the people that find a way to turn that into humor. Or, if they're a musician, they make beautiful music. Or it really intrigues me how a lot of great artists that I love, it always comes from a dark place. Yep. And they're just trying to process, man's inhumanity to man on their own, in their own personal experience, and they're just trying to get through their fucking day.
I think it's a heightened
They're not trying to make
cynicism.
beautiful music or make everyone laugh. They're just, I just want to fucking get through. It's
a coping
how the
mechanism.
fuck do I do that? Yeah, exactly. It's the ultimate coping
It's
mechanism.
a heightened level of cynicism. It's like being cynical is just a way of like dealing with the shit and trying to be numb to it. But we get a little too numb, and have a little too much shit. So I think that's what it like. And plus then again, the money, like this job keeps you broke. And there's like, and again,
it's a challenge to find
money and rejection are easily two of the catalysts to any depression, any depressive episode.
Sure.
And that happens to us pretty much every other day. So at some point you're going to crack. You know what I mean? Hopefully you don't. Hopefully you never have to go there. But at some point.
I've cracked.
Oh, we have.
I
hope we don't. Yeah. But
I think this is an important conversation on an ongoing basis to have, because, it's, I think of, as I mentioned earlier in my monologue, Joe Klosek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Joe.
Yeah.
And I think all of us who are comics, like we see these, every so often when he is out of, they let him like go on the computer or the phone because he's in a program right now for.
And I didn't even really know, but I'm like,
I didn't know either.
But once I found out, I was like, yeah, makes sense. Like,
I wasn't surprised because I'm like, well, we all drink or do drugs or do something, and that's just like one of the ways that we're, along with performing, where we're all coping with our own set of, traumas or issues. And I'm pulling for the guy, but I see the challenges he's gone through. Where like he has to make a decision between seeing, going to his dad's funeral because he just passed, and staying in the program. I'm like, what kind of fucking decision is that? And why are we as a society in 2018 so incapable of treating addicts that we force an addict to have to make that kind of a decision, and we claim to be this great civilized nation. I mean, it seems like we do more to create addicts than to actually help addicts.
Absolutely, because it's a business, and that's I think that's the best. And
don't heal the cancer, sell them chemotherapy because the pharmaceutical company's got to.
That's what makes America great and America suck, because like money is the beginning and end and the bottom line to it. Really is. So it's like there's money in creating the addict, there's money in treating the addict, there's money in like the addict relapsing, you know. And there's there's money in every stage of it.
Hey, when are you gonna do the next marijuana movie review?
Oh, that's
a hashtag, guys.
Yes. It's just a matter of like I edit all those videos myself, and I hate doing that shit. But I will get you one for Black Klansman very soon. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, I gotta see that movie. That looks so good.
It is hilarious.
That looks so good.
It's very, very funny. I think it's Spike's best movie, honestly.
Nice.
But it's like it reminds me of Malcolm X in the sense of like Malcolm X wasn't funny, but like at the very end there's a whole lot of really symbolic, artistic, like, you know, hammer home the point. And Black Klansman is like fun and then serious and then fun and then funny and then okay, it's serious and then funny again, and it's right. This is great. And then Spike Lee just smacks you in the face like, no, life sucks, man. Like racism.
Would you say it ranks up there like Get Out as far as like
absolutely
groundbreaking?
I feel like Get Out, Black Klansman, and Sorry to Bother You. I haven't seen Blind Spotting yet, but those are all like definite. Everybody should see these films. Came out in the last 2 years. Fantastic.
Gotcha. I gotta see it. Why do you want to be Joe Rogan when you grow up, Cory? You told me this on the phone yesterday.
Because Joe Rogan, like, I just one of those people that, like, I look up to, like, he's a renaissance man in today's world. Like, the dude, first of all, he knows every jujitsu thing there is. Like, the dude is.
Yeah, he does. He's like a walking encyclopedia.
He's the Jim Ross of UFC. He knows every, like, oh my God, he's got on a Nigerian toe hold, or whatever it's called. He knows what it is.
Yeah, he does.
And he knows it because he's been practicing Brazilian jiu-jitsu for years. Like, dude's like a brown belt, which lets you know how hard it is to be a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Joe Rogan, I think he has it by now, but last time I heard he was a brown belt. And then you look at his resume, and it's like he doesn't have anything that's like over the top, like he's a superstar. But everything he's done has been like he was on Wings, he was on like radio.
That's right, he was on Wings, wasn't he? Yeah,
he was either Wings or that radio show.
He was a janitor in Wings.
Yeah. And
yeah.
And then it was on that radio, that one radio show. No, it wasn't a radio
News
show.
Radio?
Yeah. It was like,
News Radio.
It was a sitcom, but it was about radio.
Yeah.
Remember David Spade was on it too. And like
David Spade's good shit.
Yeah, been in a bunch of movies.
I can't say that enough times. I'll share a story sometime, but he is like, I had an encounter with him, and he was incredibly kind and gracious, and went totally against what, the typical character that he played. Yeah. And I just,
he's just typecast as a snarky little bitchy guy.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, like, ever since that moment, like I'm rooting for that guy. I like, and I haven't even seen Joe Dirt yet. And I feel a little bad. Like I need to like catch up, but I love the guy. It's like when his sister passed, my heart, wasn't just like, all right, here's another celebrity story. I'm like, oh man.
I always thought David Spade was kind of like that character, but like I gained a lot of respect for him one night when I saw him at the Comedy Store, and it was just like just seeing how the other half lives, and it was just like he's coming out of the store, he's shaking hands, taking pictures with people, and then he gets into this Bentley that I swear I've only seen in Forza and Gran Turismo. Like, I mean, the shit had a livery, like it said like number 7, it had a big wing, and then he got in it, it started up like the Batmobile. I was like, I want to be like you. But back to Joe Rogan. Like, I want to be like Joe Rogan because, like, if you ever listen to his views on things, it's not like he's just spouting off, like, from the left or from the right or spiritual or religious. It's like he's lived his life, he's done some drugs, he's had some experiences, and he's like, nah, this is what it is.
Yeah, and he's coming from a place of experience, and he's not just talking out of his ass.
And he doesn't just talk about shit that he doesn't know. It's like if it's something he doesn't know, he wants to find it out or go check it out.
Yeah, he's got an insatiable curiosity that's palpable. And that's I love that.
Yeah, him and who was the other guy I was gonna say? But yeah, like I want to be like Joe Rogan when I get to where that level of, I don't think it's financial security. I just think it's like just like life security where you just do what you want.
Right. You have choices.
Yeah. It's beyond financial. It's a more like you got to be there. you know.
Speaking of choices, you have a lady. Now, did she choose you, or did you choose her, or was it mutual? Like what?
I think we chose each other.
Okay.
And it's ironic because
How long has that been going on?
About 3 years, going on 3 years.
Nice. I'm happy for you.
Thank
brother.
you.
That's
I'm
awesome.
happy to be in it. I'm happy to be with her. She's happy to be with me.
And she's supportive of you, what you do as a comic.
Very, very supportive. When I was
That's huge, man.
I was running a show for about a year out here at a.
That's right. You got Robinson Comedy Services,
yes,
right?
yes. Soon to be an LLC.
Nice. We'll link to that in the show notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was running a show down in Redondo Beach.
You book comics too.
Mhm. And she was helping me with everything. She'd like, make sure she was like my
cool.
liaison. She like one time I couldn't be there and she ran the show for me.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Everybody loves
she's
her.
in your corner.
Very much so.
That's huge, man.
Like
I'm glad to
Mickey,
hear
like
it.
she screams and cusses at me all the time. Like, you're a bum. You're gonna eat lightning. You're gonna crap thunder.
Hey, show must go on. The things we do to entertain people.
Yep.
And you're definitely entertaining people. I noticed yesterday your IMDb star meter, which, okay, we all know it's a little schlocky. It's a little, who even knows what the formula is. And, it's up one day, down the next. And you see the people that got the low numbers and you're like, really? But it's still something that whether we want to admit it or not in this town, it's a metric we all pay attention to, like how many followers you have on social media. Yours jumped up, or I should say down, because it's like golf. You want to have a low number, but it got to a lower number by a factor of 2 million this week.
Wow. I don't know what I did, but I'll do
Well,
it
I
again
know
if
what
I
you
can.
did. You got the pro thing, like I recommend. Now, because I noticed today, like you got a sweet look at this thing.
Like when you
We
show
got Cory there and a nice crisp blue button down.
because you told me the thing
Looking
jumped like
good.
2 million. I was like, okay, I'll pay for this shit.
They gotta know who you are. Well,
Yeah.
like for me, because I'm unabashedly a busker and an extra or background artist. Which in this town I found like representation. Other folks like, they're more impressed with a prostitute or a porn star or a reality TV personality.
No shit.
That glows orange. And the second you say like, you work as a street performer or you did background work on some show, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna maybe want to leave that off.
I think it's because
the
like
IMDb, the resume, like anything, never bring that up again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have my IMDb is littered with background work, and I'm okay with that because to me, it's like,
somebody's got to do it.
yeah. And if someone sees me and they're like, I like that look, I kind of like he did some tiny little thing in that corner that you barely saw. But then I've had other moments where I'm like really featured. I just don't have any lines.
Yeah.
That's the nature of being a background. And I'm like, that's how people can find me is through the IMDb. And then the other thing is like, it's on me to, as a performer, to create new content and do something new that's compelling that people want. And if I can't do that, then that's on me. But it's like, I'm not afraid of these other things that I've done that aren't seen as glamorous. Yeah. And that always just kind of blows my mind. It's like, it's like I'm doing this podcast now, and I was always planning to do this. And, it's not mutually exclusive with being a busker or being a street performer. And it never will be,
Yeah. Well, this city is
Penn and Teller are street performers, but Brian Williams was a street performer. Rod Stewart is a street performer. And it's like,
this city is all image, man. And it's
completely.
It is a totem pole thing. And like
smoke and mirrors all over the place.
And the funny thing about comedy compared to the rest of it is like, there's a level of like, everybody wants to be like, like George Clooney actor, blockbuster, like every summer you're in a movie, everybody wants that level. And somewhere on the bottom is like, like open micer or I guess like background or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, open micers in the comedy world, sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But like it's somewhere in that, like somewhere on all levels, they all try to get into comedy. And I've got way more respect for any background, any busker than a reality star, because at least you worked at your talent.
Word.
I don't like reality stars. I don't even like the sound of it. Like, I'm not even going to get into the whole reason why we have one as the president, but I never respected them because you're not doing shit. You're just getting paid to pretty much be an asshole.
Preach.
Like, and it's not like, now there'll be one
Preach
thing.
it, brother.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if you're just being yourself and someone's
But I'm
following
the
you
choir,
around.
so,
But like, yeah, but it's just like the Jersey Shore and Loving Basketball. And like, is there any reality show that would work if it wasn't just a bunch of people that think they look good fighting with each other? That's really all it is. Just a bunch of like egotistical assholes arguing. And then people watch that because anybody watches a fight. Anybody wants to watch an argument. If you're walking down the street and you see two people arguing, you're like, oh, what's this going to be? But at the same time, like, it's not a talent. It's not a skill. And then after a while, you're going to run out because there's not shit else you can do. All you have to market is the fact that you're popular. And that's great for the business. But if I was your agent, I'd be like, go figure something out so I can sell you.
Go make something.
Yeah, go do something.
Speaking of making something, when are you making something next? When can we see it? This episode's going to drop on the 27th. So what gigs you got coming up after the 27th?
After the 27th, on 29th,
perform comedy live.
After the 29th, you can see me at the Springbok Comedy Club in North Hollywood. On the 7th, you can catch me at the Library in Bakersfield. And somewhere around my birthday, September 20th, I'm trying to do some shows in New York. And
New York?
Yes.
Whereabouts in New York?
I have no idea.
Fair enough.
I have never been to New York. That's why I want to go.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I've heard great things about it, so I'm trying to do that. And then late in October, I'm doing Pachanga. So just have to check my. I'm gonna say my website.
Nice.
Say my Facebook. Nobody really has a website.
That's for when people want to play blackjack or poker on tribal land.
Yes.
Yes. I need to open my poker.
It is a
game
beautiful
myself.
resort, by the way. Like, it's in the middle of nowhere, heat, and just in a hot ass desert, but it is gorgeous. I love Pachanga.
I believe in. We'll put links in the show notes so people can see your calendar and everything.
Yes, sir.
Along with all your social media and what have you. Well, how do you feel? You feel like we? I
feel good.
Yeah, I
Great.
do too.
Yeah.
Me too.
This is nice. I hope this keeps going. I hope to get more popularity. I want to be back. So
I want to have you back, and I want to see that Netflix special.
Yes, I want to be able to tell you when it's coming out. So maybe I'll be making my big announcement on the Mark Roman Empire.
And that would be Cory Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that. Looking forward to it, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's another one in the can, guys. It was really good to catch up with Cory. I'm feeling like, you might volunteer to be my sponsor in the Get the Comic Back on Stage in Comedy Clubs program. He did just head down the street to a local comedy room. I don't know. Maybe I'll join him later. Who knows? We'll see. Look, I loved having him on the podcast. We will have the show notes up at markromanempire.com, so that way you can easily reference any links, all the show dates that are upcoming for Cory, and all the other groovy stuff that was mentioned. I'm slowly, organically building this podcast, but that doesn't mean you can't help. And I get it. Look, you're busy, I'm busy, we're all busy. And of course, we got to catch up with the latest episodes of that made-for-TV maxi series, All the President's Men 2, Full Throttle, but no collusion yet. Look, I get it. We're busy, but just find some time in your schedule. If you like this podcast, tell someone about it. Let's spread the seed of it and make it grow, of the podcast, all right? Follow, like, and share on the YouTube, the SoundCloud, and whatever other platforms we manage to get. We might have iTunes and Spotify coming up here. We're working on it, guys. Making this free to you podcast, hey, it's still costing me money, kids. So if you like it and you want more, buy my merch. The Lieutenant Frank headshots and citations, my poem. It's what we got now. It's still enough. Now, where to listen to the podcast and my merch, links to all of that you'll find at markromanempire.com. Now, I am doing more on the Twitter lately, where I am the Mark Roman, Hollywood Cap, and Lieutenant Frank Grooviness, mostly on my Instagram at Vegas90210. Buskers like me get no salary, so always remember to generously tip your busker. Hey, until next week, kids, I remain Mark Roman.